Good morning, teachers. Good morning, doctors. So my presentation will start with my site analysis that we made. Okay. So this was my site analysis, and I will directly start with my project. So actually, my story started after making that site analysis, which we just saw, and when I just started to work according and actually by following the site context, which the site has. So I try to make something harmonic. I try to make a harmonic design that will follow, the architectural theme based on the parameters and even the urban form which the site or that spot has. By following that method, actually, I thought that I could create a project that will be familiar to the user, and even, at first, and even it will may make actually the relation between the user and even the masses of my project. Considering the minimalistic approach of architecture while I'm solving the problems, if I call it as a problem, and even celebrating the material itself, especially when I'm talking about the museum, since it is the main or the essential mass of this project. Harmonic design means a project that will follow the same language, and even it is a united project. So one way of achieving that unity in my project was the or through the repetition, like the repetition of windows and doors and similarities of the objects. And actually, I may ask like myself, like, why repetition? Repetition can create the relation or the rhythm, which I just mentioned it before. And the importance of rhythm in architecture actually based upon the relation to human rhythm, like walking and breathing, which is a repeated activities, or like the music, or I'm talking about the songs, like it has repeated clips. That's why people like repetition. But if I'm talking about architecture here, I'm talking about the visual, the visual repetition of the object. Moving to my site plan, to talk a bit about the second way to make the connectivity or to achieve a connectivity or a connected project was through the grid system that I used, which in its turn actually will underpin and support the minimalistic way that I chose to follow. And even it looked good and a practical one, and it's quick to organize. And I not to forget, the Knowling system, which I used it, and even why I did use the grid system, because it is the way to make the design brief, which will work properly with the idea of public space or the public space and public area that we should design. Uh, the purpose actually of making that or the using even the knowledge system, because it is the way to make a space in order to create a clean visually appealing aesthetic, which I did utilize actually, since I it fit very well with the grid system. So in here we could see the masses that I have. I did put the residential building, and also I choose to have the horizontal layout. The first one, the first building, which is the residential building, I put it in that space in order to not to cut this line of residential buildings. And I did put the museum at that spot with these skylights, as you in which you see it in here. And even the connection between the commercial and the residential and the museum was through these semi-open spaces covered with the same with these shadow elements, which you will see it in a moment. Uh, these shadow elements or these connection points was the points that I get the benefit from it in order to make that integrated, or let's say the interaction points, which will let the people even meet under it. And then I did create this stepped urban space. Now we will see it in a minute. And even I did create these shadow elements to connect, first of all, my project with the existing theater that we do have. That was the first one. And even I did connect it with the landscaping. And lastly, I did put the at this space the playground area in order to make it more protected one. So moving to my plans, the first one, the underground plan of my museum, I did choose to have two entrances for my project. The first one is from there, which is for the what, teacher? Okay, okay, okay. So I did choose to have two entrances for my project. The first one for the museum in order and even to promote or to support the privacy of this project. The second one for the commercial and uh, the residential. Here we do have some shots from the parking. Moving to my underground to the underground plan of my commercial and residential, and we do have a shot of the commercial building. And even as you see, I even did use the grid system even while I was making the elevation of each building. In each building I did put imaginary grid, and I started to take in and to take out some bars in order to create that cubical shapes which you do have. And even we do have the layered plan of this commercial building with the section AA, which cut through the museum with the residential building. So moving to the ground floor of my museum with the shot of it, I did invest the double height exhibition that I do have in order to make that cubical form that I have, or I need to have. With the celebrating of material that you see, which I did use it in all the corners of my museum, and even the celebrating the glass or the views that I have. And I did make that, as you see, the U shape of the entrance of the museum in order to make it the dominant one, let's say. We do have even the northern elevation with the surrounding of it. Moving to my the museum layered plan with the shot from a balcony of the residential building. And even here we can see the shadow element that I did use with one of the connection point between the masses, which will be the semi-open space that I just talked about it. And now I will just show you the ground floor of my residential and my commercial one. In order to have that connections, or let's say an interactive points between these masses, I did have, or I did put the cafes in the ground floor and the first floor of my residential mass. And even I did put some cafes in the commercial wall in order to serve that place. So moving to my first floor, we could see the relation properly between these masses, and even how this masses connected with each other, and the grid system that I used it in, even by using, or while I'm using this shadow or designing the shadow elements, and the way that I did it with the details of it, starting from the surface, then dividing it, then selecting the button that I do have, and then the final result. Moving to the second floor of my museum, we can see first of all the skylight of it, and we do have some shots. And as you see in the second shot or the second perspective, I did have like two open exhibition on each other, so the people can stand up in there and look down. So it will be something that will support the idea of memorable space and memorable picture of the user. And even on this shot on the left side, we do have the museum. I did put a screen on that museum in front of that urban stepped area in order to let the people just to watch, or just to make it as a place just to be able to come on it and to watch something for free, because everybody like the free things, with the details of the skylight, of course, as we see it in here. So moving to the second floor of the masses with the shot of my commercial building, and even we can see the cubical shapes in here very well with the offices that I do have, because I do have two floors. The first one, the ground one with the first one, will be a commercial one, and then I do have two floors of offices in order to let the people invest in this project. So for my residential building, I do have a typical residential apartment. That's why I did only one 3D for it. And even I put some shot for the interior spaces. As you see, it will be 4 apartments in each floor, and directly like connected with this shadow element, I mean, under it. So here we can see the commercial building, the details, okay, and with the shot under it, the details of the facade, how it will be with the wooden element that I did put in here. And even we can see the elevation, let's say, or a perspective for the museum with the landscaping in front of it. Moving to a plan for the 4th floor with even the perspective from under this shadow element, which connect my project with the theater, and even I did connect it with the children playing area, as you saw. And in here, if you can just like a bit focused on this picture, I did use two material on the ground. On one, like some spaces, I raised them up with the same material in order just to make it as sitting places for the people. So these are the plans of my residential building, since it is a typical one. So it is just with a shot of it, and even the escalator that you see it in order to let the people directly reach to my connection point, or to that level directly from the ground floor. Okay, so moving just to see the elevation of each building with the elevation with the surrounding of it, and even we can see the screen in here in the west elevation. And sorry, so this is the section DD with the surrounding of it with the stepped area. You can see it in here with the commercial elevations. And lastly, it will be the residential building elevations with a shot for my entire project. Okay, and lastly, I will just present something which I did create a little video for my project, so I will just present it if you don't mind. So this is the museum. Okay, another shot for the museum. This is the stepped ground, the stepped urban area. Moving to the residential building with the greenery things that I put. To the commercial one with the residential and even the connection points. With some shot for the museum, since it is the essential mass in my project. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Ismail. I really, um, I really felt very close to your approach from the very beginning. How did you decide to make that cubical shapes? How did you distribute it in the land? How did it makes a kind of continuity with the all over pattern of the Nicosia? And how did you manage to make all those cubical things in a very light, as light compositions? The language that you have been used in different facades of commercial or residential parts of the building, but also achieved to make a kind of same language that has been used. The green areas that you have been located in the elevations, kind of biophilic and sustainable architecture. Have you managed the outer spaces, courtyards, gathering spaces? I really congratulate you. Bravo.
Thank you, teacher. Thank you, doctor. I really appreciate your comment.
I appreciated your project. Thank you.
Yes, it's my simple but powerful and rich approach. I only want to tell a simple thing with your landscape. You managed to collect your buildings in a very successful way, and you have a very big area for the citizens to use. But My critics will be about the coverings. You have less green and more covered area. What do you think about it? Is it possible to use more green areas on ground floor level?
Maybe I think it was better to put more green area in my project. But
On your 3Ds and the site plan, I felt a little bit about this. I wish to see more green. But I don't know if you have a special purpose for usage and that's why you create it.
Yeah, actually, teacher, it was with the grid system that I did use. After dividing that side, I mean, with the grid, imaginary grid, let's say, I started to put some solid and some green area. So, yeah, it was better, I mean, to put more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much, Ismail. Congratulations on the hard work you've done throughout the semester, and your final presentation reflects that. All right. So